Los Angeles, the city of dreams, where fortunes are made overnight and lost just as fast. A city that never sleeps, never slows down. That night, the rain poured relentlessly, washing over the neon-lit streets, creating shimmering reflections of a city that never truly stood still. People rushed under umbrellas, luxury cars pulled up to grand hotels, and Hollywood's elite disappeared behind velvet ropes. But standing on the sidewalk, waiting for a ride, was Tom Cruise. A man who could have had a private chauffeur, a luxury car waiting at his command. But instead he had chosen something different, something unexpected. A few minutes later, an old yellow taxian pulled up. The kind of car most people ignored. Through the rain-streaked window he saw the driver. Middle-aged, tired, lost in thought. Tom slid into the back seat, the smell of worn-out leather filling the air. The soft tapping of raindrops against the roof was the only sound. He gave the driver a destination, and the car pulled away. But something felt off. There was something about this man, something unspoken, something heavy. The silent ride. The city lights blurred through the rain-soaked windows. Bright billboards, streaming headlights, the towering skyline. It all faded into the background. Inside that small taxi, the world felt different. The driver's hands gripped the wheel a little too tightly. His posture was tense. This wasn't just exhaustion. This was something deeper. His name was Mike. Just another man trying to get through the night. But behind that worn-out face, behind those weary eyes, there was a story. Not just fatigue, not just struggle. As past stories that haunted him, a dream that once burned bright and then faded. Suddenly, Mike's story. Years ago, he was more than this. A musician, a guitarist, a man with talent, with passion, with a future. He had a band, a record deal on the table, a tour ready to begin. And then life happened. His wife got sick. The medical bills piled up. No insurance, no way out. So he did what he had to do. He sold his guitar. He left the band. He let go of his dream. The tour went on without him. The world moved forward while he stayed behind. And one by one, the things that made him who he was slipped through his fingers. The guitar he once played every night, sold to pay rent. The music that once ran through his veins, drowned out by the hum of a taxi engine. Now he wasn't chasing dreams. He was just surviving. For years he told himself this was just how life worked, that some people weren't meant to make it, that some dreams weren't meant to last. But that night, for the first time in a long time, he said it out loud, and suddenly it felt real. Too real. The taxi kept rolling, but inside something had shifted. Tom listens. Tom didn't just hear the story, he felt it, and as the rain continued to fall, as the city lights streaked past in a blur, one thing became clear. This wasn't just a sad story, it was an unfinished one. Maybe life had taken things away, but who said it had to end there? Who decided that 50 was too late to dream again? Most people would have nodded, said something polite, moved on with their night. But Tom wasn't most people. Instead, he reached for his phone. An unexpected call, a name, Danny, a friend, a music producer, someone who could change things. The driver barely knew what to say. After all these years, after all the closed doors and missed chances. Why was a Hollywood superstar making a phone call on his behalf? It didn't make sense. But sometimes, the best things in life don't. The taxi pulled up in front of the hotel. For a moment, neither of them spoke. Then Tom turned back, his voice steady. It's your choice, Mike. But if even a small part of that dream is still inside you, don't let it go. For the first time in years, Mike felt something he thought he had lost. Hope. A second chance. Weeks passed, and then, one night in a small jazz bar in Los Angeles, a man stepped onto the stage. A man who hadn't touched a guitar in years. A man who once believed his dreams were too far gone to reach.